Welcome, everyone, to Joyful Hope TV. My name is Patrick, and you are watching Joyful Hope TV. And we are going to have a special guest, Alvaro Antiano. I had to practice that name because boy, he is so unique. He is so unique. He is the founder of the YouTube channel Uniquely Mary, and it has hit the Catholic world like you wouldn't believe. He is a phenomenal sensation all over social media, and we met him in Ireland, and he's a good man. He's a good father. He is married to a beautiful woman named Rachel, and they have kids, and it's wonderful. And you would never have thought it, but he was once a Catholic priest, and for the turn of events, he came now, and now he's preaching to millions of people all over the world. And he is pretty famous in our circle. We love him. We did some conferences with him. We over at Rosa Mystica. We're going to be announcing when we're going to be back at Rosa Mystica at the end of this podcast today. We're really excited for him to be here. He is, for some strange reason, going to start another YouTube channel. So we need everyone to give him some support, and maybe we should subscribe to his new channel, Uniquely Mystics, today. We are so happy to. We were talking the other day. We were texting each other back and forth, and Joy told me he had a new channel, and I said, "Hey, why don't you come on to our channel and we can make sure that everyone who watches Joyful Hope TV also subscribes to his new channel, Uniquely Mystics." So without further ado, we're really excited to introduce to you Alvaro.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great to be here. It's kind of in light of the question, like, why on earth would I start a new channel? And I think there was something the other day. I think we were in Amarillo for Thanksgiving, and it was sometimes just because of different situations. It was just kind of difficult. I was going through like a hard week, and so I reached out to you for some prayer.
Oh
And I
yeah.
remember, I think it was either then or at some other point that you, maybe it was before, but at some point you prayed with me, and one of the things that you said, it was something like in reference to the channel, that it was like as if you said something like that the Blessed Mother was like on the side. I forget how you described it, but
Oh yeah. I actually do remember that. We were praying prophetically, and it wasn't so much that the Blessed Mother was on like the side. It was that she was reminding you of a promise that you made her, right? There was something, and I said, I don't know what you could have said or what kind of promise it was, but the Blessed Mother wanted you to remember what you promised her.
yeah,
And we left it like at that, and we really didn't know what was going on. But
yeah. And I don't know if I exactly figured out what I promised, or I think sometimes like we'll promise God things that we don't know exactly what we're saying. But I was thinking about, when I started the channel Uniquely Mary, it was going to be a channel only about the Blessed Mother, and
wow.
and it turned out to be a channel about purgatory, because I was learning, because YouTube is kind of weird. It's like the best metaphor to describe it is like it's like starting a restaurant. If you make a burger restaurant, you can't start serving Chinese food. It'll really people will not like it. And even if it's great Chinese food, everyone will stop coming to your restaurant and say, I don't want Chinese food, I want burgers. And so kind of when you
Yeah.
start a channel, you have to pick what type of food you're going to serve. And you could do like, Chinese and Korean, and to the person that doesn't know, it's the same thing, but it's not.
No.
And each has its own sort of fan base. And so as I was like learning about the channel, I focused on purgatory because it was something I knew a lot, and people had like an interest. So then it even though it had this weird name unrelated to purgatory, that's kind of where it kind of landed. And then I learned a lot about um, how to make the channels grow and all that stuff, like, because there's a ton of stuff to learn,
Oh my
and it
goodness.
takes
Yes.
it takes a while to kind of learn the idea and then to put it into practice. And then I just kept seeing that whenever I would make videos about other topics, and then I would make videos about purgatory, people would be like interested in the other topic, but not so much about purgatory. So in other words, it's like I would serve Chinese food, and then I would go back to Thai, and they're like, no, we don't like Thai. And so I realized I was
Wow.
serving two different types of food, and YouTube's trying to figure out like who's my audience. And so that's when I thought, I really want to cover these other things. I want to talk about these other things like mystics in general, unrelated to purgatory. But then when I do that, it kind of throws off the fan base because they're like, "Hey, where's our regular food? We like
Yeah.
boobies or whatever metaphor you want to say." And then I decided, I almost got like tired of that, and I thought, I need to just start another channel. And I'd had that idea because like I had the idea of doing it in Spanish, but
Wow.
then I realized because I'm fluent in Spanish, but I'm not YouTube fluent in Spanish, and it's different. Like it's like if anyone's learned another language, when you leave your country, your language gets frozen in time. So I left in the 80s.
Mm.
So I have an 80s Spanish. I haven't kept up with all the lingo. So when I was starting to make the YouTube channel in Spanish, I only did 2 videos, and I thought, I don't know the lingo. I can't like get in there. I don't even know, do they say subscribe or like like, but since I've kept up with, I've watched Mr. B, so I know how you talk on YouTube in 2026.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've had the same problem because over here on Joyful Hope TV, pretty much the people that watch us know us like their family, and so we really get away with a lot of smorgasbord. Sometimes I'll grab the guitar; it's
Yeah.
sitting right over here. I mean, Joy and I will sing, and we do different things, and we try different things, and I really believe that God has given you a spotlight to minister to way more people than you probably ever could minister as a priest in a parish. And you need that freedom to change your homilies. We as people who watch you need you to have that freedom to talk about mystics and whatever's on your heart. And so I think it's smart to keep both and have that freedom so you don't lose an audience because I mean purgatory is an awesome reflection, that you don't want to give up. And it seems like it's like a catch 22. If we change you know, our niche, then it's down. I had a friend
Yeah.
who just did cleaning her room, and Donna the Friar Shorter, Donna who's watching right now, her daughter has millions and millions of subscribers, and they watch her clean her house really really fast. Everything's like in fast motion, and as soon as she wanted to like plant a garden, nobody wanted to watch it. Everybody
Yeah.
left, and it was scary. It was like, I mean, people just were leaving by the thousands, because she wasn't doing the same thing that she was supposed to be doing that they brought her to. So it's a beast. It's a strange machine
Yeah.
that
So
we're
it's
still learning. And we learn a lot from you too.
yeah, it's really interesting. So then when I started this, I guess I'll always look back and think, oh, it was kind of random. But then, not thinking of it, I think God was building this up because, for instance, like I would read a huge book for me is like the Mystical City of God. I would just
Yeah, it's beautiful.
sit and read stuff, and then in the second part, the Blessed Mother is giving Venerable Mary of Agreda all this advice, and I thought this is incredible. Like I wish I would have known this 5 or 10 years ago. I would pay so much money for anyone to tell me this stuff. And it's right here in a book that no one's going to buy because the print copy, there's the one volume, for instance, that's like $40. People can afford that, but it's like $100 for the 4 volume. And then you can get it electronically. But a lot of my audience is like 40s, 50s, and 60s. They may hate Kindles or not know how to work them
Oh,
and
sure.
stuff like that. So it's kind of, or they don't have the time. A lot of time it's that. So it's kind of inaccessible to them. And then I thought, I want to I want to share this. Like it's awful to know this, and then I could share it in my channel, but then it's like I'm serving this very specific food, like like Korean, and then I decide to switch one day, and people kind of get thrown off, or they like that new stuff, and then they don't want to go back to purgatory, for
Mm.
understandable reasons. But so then I started just the channel, it's been like a week, you know? It's just been like a
Wow.
week. And one thing that helped was like because of the other channel, I was able to kind of cross promote. But man, when I started like the Uniquely Married channel, it took a long time to grow. Like we were looking at that with my wife, and it took months. Like no one would subscribe, like very little views. It was so depressing. It's
That's
really
where we
hard.
are now.
Yeah,
We're-
it's hard, you know. And honestly, I think at first it only grew because like I was praying and God was like, "Fine, I'll like you're not doing the right thing, but I'm gonna bless your work and make it fruitful, even though you're planning on all weird. You know, it's like you're not using water, you're not fertilizing, but I'm gonna make the tree grow anyway." So I think he allowed the channel to grow despite my kind of lack of knowledge. Whereas this one in like a week, you know, it's so much easier, which has been great for Rachel and I to see that in a week because it feels like, oh my gosh, over the last 5 years, everything that I've learned like actually works. Like kind of
yeah.
like all this stuff that, like it worked and I feel kind of free to now do that. And then I feel free to just kind of commit to the purgatory with the other channel because it's, you know, now I have kind of like this other outlet and I'm able to share stuff in this other one that I probably never would have talked about. Like I had that video about the infant Jesus of Prague,
Wow.
for instance. I never would have made that video on the Uniquely Married channel for sure.
I think it's really important that you have that freedom to preach. I don't know if not everybody knows this, but we were together at Rosa Mystica, and that's Edmiston, New York, and we're going to give you the dates when we're going to be there next at the end of the show, so you stay and watch. But it is really important for us to have that freedom to preach what's on your heart, and if that means we have to support you on two channels, it doesn't cost anything. And this is where I'm kind of conflicted with a lot of our viewers that haven't subscribed is they don't think it matters. It matters so much. And that's when I saw that you're having another channel, Joy actually told me about it. I'm like, well, we gotta like get everyone to like it because we gotta help each other. And you having being on my show is helping us too, because it was one of our friends, I forget, Dr. Bacon, Dr. Christine Bacon, she called me up and said we have to cross pollinate, you know.
Yeah.
We're kind of like in this secular world with YouTube, and there's a river going down, and we need as many oars that are Catholic, you know, paddling down the river, right upstream, because the competition is so evil out there. There's so many like nonsense and things that are not of God that are being promoted that are huge. I was
Yeah.
once watching these teenagers and they were just talking like dribble, like what do we call brain rot, right? And they had millions and millions of people watching them just like mumble on the screen. And I'm like, oh Lord, you need to help us. And
Yeah.
my Catholic priest friend of mine that I was telling you about, he's a good guy. I love him, but he doesn't subscribe to my channel. And I'm like, why would you not? You're like one of my best friends. Why would you not subscribe? He goes, well, then YouTube would know what I like. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is probably what a lot of Catholics think. They think that if they subscribe or like, that Big Brother's going to know who they are. And I'm like, Big Brother
Yeah.
knows you already. I mean, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that for people to be aware of is like uh the feed tracks what you search for and what you watch. And there's millions of videos out there. So what you're seeing, it's kind of like the news. You think the news is what they're telling you the truth. They're telling you what they want you to know.
yeah.
YouTube is showing you what it wants you to see. Because like if you look at a screen, there's only like 20 videos. There's not 20 videos out there. There's 3 million videos out there. So it's filtering to try to guess what you're most likely going to watch. So for instance, if you start searching like Catholic travel, your screen is going to start changing. So if you go and intentionally search for channels, like if you search for Joyful Hope, it's going to start showing you this stuff that, oh, it's not there, but yes, it is. So in other words, like
Oh,
you can let YouTube feed you or you could say, no, I want to search this. I want to, like, you can go directly to the channel, and
That's a boom.
it changes the buffet that YouTube is going to serve you, because there's only a limited number of spots. So for instance, like, people will think, oh, well, Patrick hasn't put out a video in months. No, it's just that YouTube, the algorithm hasn't shown it to you. So for instance, like, I was watching this, there's this like young Catholic um YouTuber called wait, give me a second. One of my daughters coming up.
Yep. No worries. We
Give me a
got
second.
kids ourselves.
Yeah, I should be just give me actually give me, can you give me a minute? I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, here we go.
Say it for about next
Okay.
question to ask.
Now I'm going to ask him all kinds of weird questions when he gets back. Alvaro's God, so this is a good time for us to talk about him. Okay, this one time, I was at Rosa Mystica with Alvaro, and he is a really good father. He is a really good father, and his family just loves him. And I tell you, when I saw him preach in the church, right? I got to experience what he must have been like when he was a priest, a Catholic priest. And what I thought was really important is his kids got to see him preach inside a church. And it was probably one of the most magnificent opportunities where a child can see their father preach like a priest. And he was really in a zone. He was so very humble, fatherly like. I felt like it was like the father show where, we were both two different kinds of dads. I was kind of like the weird, wacky dad, and he was the kind of sensitive, humble dad. And but it was a really unique thing. And so, like, at the end of the conference, or this talk right here, we're going to tell you the dates that we already have booked at Rosa Mystica. Alvaro's going to be there, and I'm going to be there, and I'll drag Joy with me, but and Talon and the kids. But we'll tell you the dates. Yeah, this is live. That's okay, man. We're all human, man. We got kids. He's going to come back and bring you on. I was just talking good stuff about you. Okay.
So I was searching up this Catholic guy that's like, he made this video that was like, I went and saw where all the 12 apostles died. And as soon as I started searching that, my feed completely changes, and now it's all these young Catholic guys that are like, I visited where Jesus died, I visited whatever. So in other words, like, but since we tend to search for the same things, that's why we're shown the same things like on the screen.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like sort of like teaching YouTube where we need to be, you know,
Yeah.
and it's really important. So I just had some comments. We got a lot of comments that were saying a lot of people want to see us in different places in Rosa Mystica because some people can't get to New York, and that is open too. I mean, we had talked about doing other conferences together in other places, and I believe that's going to happen. I really am excited with working with you and your family, and it's just a matter of trying to book the next year, where we're going to be. Maybe we can even go to Ireland together. That'd be great, but everyone wants to come and see you. So
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah, we're so the date that we have scheduled kind of tentatively is the very last weekend of July, or it's like the 31st to August 2nd.
Yes.
There at Rosa Mystica. I'm actually going to be in Ireland, like 90% certain, May 29th to like June 19th. So
Really?
something we might just come up with some random thing to do when we're there. We're going just for vacation, but something ends up coming up always, or we come up with some idea.
Yeah, we've been asked to go to Ireland too for the first part of the year, and we'll see where you are on there, and it's just a matter of just trying to arrange things. So, but if we can figure out how to go, we have a lot of people in Ireland watching us all the time. We have a lot of family in Ireland. So they're going to be pretty excited to hear that. But it's always a great opportunity to be able to spread, the gospel, the evangelization, And I think what you do is you provide a very unique, ha, no pun intended, a very
I got to live
unique,
up to the name. If I'm going to use that name,
yeah,
I gotta fill its shoes.
yeah. And but it is a very unique perspective because you have that perspective of being a priest and being a dad and a husband, and it kind of like fills you out. So when you're preaching, it's almost like you're talking to your kids, and you've got that gentleness and that the reality of certain situations. Like for one of the big things that we're working on together is generational sin patterns. That's we're going to be tackling that at Rosa Mystica, and uh, you had said something to me how you wish that priests would at least have a wife so they could understand more fully how generational patterns work, right? Because you really don't get it on your own. But when you're married to somebody and you become one and you're dealing with a pattern in a family, you really get to see it like, wow, it's right. Can you speak to about
Yeah,
your experiences there?
yeah. So, and obviously every priest is different. Some are able to kind of like go out from the theory and guess things just by observation. But but I think sometimes like when you're living single or that celibate life, it could be kind of like as if you're sort of your own island, you know, and that you're
Yeah.
kind of like now disconnected, connected to this ethereal family. And so it's harder to see some of those patterns play out, even though if you were to look at any parish priest, they probably pastor the same way their dad did. But it's
Yeah.
harder to do that to understand that because you're pastoring thousands of people. So it's harder to see like this large pattern with all these people as opposed to like with a family of six or something like that. So for me having kids, it's like I see mirrored in front of me like so for instance, one of the things that like Father Ripperger says just as an example is he'll say that like when you're being tempted with things as like a father or mother, it that demon will also tempt your children with the exact same types of things but in a seed form. And I'll
Yes.
see that. Like I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I struggle somewhat with anger. I see that trait in my child that like they're being tempted not like I am, but in the child version. And seeing that mirrored in front of you, I mean, a lot of people want to be blind to that, but like I'm able to be like, I see my sin in them, literally. And so like, and I can imagine then what it looked like in my dad, or I know that, from experience, but then I could imagine how it looked like in my grandfather, and I could see the generational sin. Like I see it right there. It's very tangible. And so and then I see that like I'm fighting, and so I can pray, like not just correcting my child, but like, okay, they're being tempted with this or that. I did that. Now they're being tempted. I know what to pray for. Like it's for me it's interesting seeing the theory right in front of me.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're going to do in the workshop is to be able to teach fathers, especially because, I'm going to talk about fathers, how to fight or how to recognize when you're attacked. Like, I know when I'm attacked with something, I know that if that's the front, what do you call it? The first attack, the first wave, and I'm attacked, and I know that if I can fight this, I can help the boys or to help the other kids because it's coming in waves. It's not just, and it'll attack the father first, and that's my signal. It's like something's up, and then I have to go to battle. And how do you do that? But the thing is that we're all attached to each other. Like I always consider like a family is tied to the ankles and they have to run across a field together. And if one of them falls, we all fall. And if we don't try to carry each other, we're going to make a mess. And this pattern is it would be just not realistic to pretend that there's not an elephant in the room. Especially when you look at some families that are dealing with addictions and you've got great grandpa who's an alcoholic, and then grandpa's an alcoholic, and then dad, no matter how he tries, he falls and he's an alcoholic. And then he's got a kid and you're thinking, oh, that won't happen to him. And you just see this pattern. It's like, is there something we can do about it? And there is. You know, we have a tendency, just like our DNA, to get stuck in our root. It's not that we can inherit sin, but my goodness, it is really something that we can fight about it if you can see it. You know, if you can see
Yeah.
something coming, you know, why would we
Yeah, I think
want not want to handle it?
yeah, I think one thing, because sometimes people will that usually is that they don't believe in this, and let's say it's someone who just doesn't have a family in different situations, and they're like, oh no, this doesn't happen, because they don't see it passing through them to their next generation. You might not inherit the sin, but you can inherit the temptation to it that's going to be coming in. You kind of like, if your dad was involved in gang problems, that problem's going to find you too, and you're going to have to deal with that reputation. So the demons that are tempting your parents or you, like, you're passing that on now. Your child is free to say no, but they have extra temptation to deal with, that like another family where like it's already been conquered, they're not being tempted with that. So of course they don't commit those sins, because there's a
Yeah.
lot less push, so you're inheriting something, but not the sin itself.
And I like how you said that because you don't inherit the sin, but the problem, the situation. And I think that's really relevant in the book of Jeremiah, where the Israelites worship a false god, and then God puts a like a curse on them for 70 years, right? Well, if you think about it, most of the elders, the people that did the curse, are going to be dead in 20, 30 years, and
Hmm.
that punishment's continuing on to their children. And it only makes sense if you believe in purgatory. If you believe in purgatory and Jesus believes in generations, that's why he goes, this father begot this father got this son, and it just keeps on going because it's important. It's so important that Jesus came to redeem us. That's why he injected himself into our family, into our DNA, so he could represent us, because someone needs to make the sacrifice. It certainly wasn't Adam. Adam's like, not my fault. It was the woman you sent to me, and he's like, not my fault. It was the snake. So there is this need for somebody in our family line to do the right thing instead of just keep on folding into a familiar spirit that keeps on
Hmm.
repeating. And we're given an opportunity to defend our families in purgatory that are still suffering for the consequences that they did, but didn't do so well, and they died, and now they're in purgatory. But guess what? There is a kid, just like in Jeremiah, there is this opportunity that the children could undo what their parents did and offer up a acceptable sacrifice. And it never could be acceptable until Jesus Christ, right? And now that Jesus Christ is there, we can tap into that that blood, the blood, the DNA of Jesus on the cross. And so all of that is lost if you don't know how to do it, or even have the priest. We were talking about this the other day, and nobody knows this, but we were talking about, hey, do we have a priest who can do Freemason, relieve the Freemason curses? Do we have a priest that could do some deliverance work? And it's tough. I mean, these priests have their own parishes. Most priests are so busy doing, the stuff that they're doing. To get a
Hmm.
priest to come in, and like Father Rippinger, is spread so thin that he has to get a whole bunch of different exorcists and train them so that they can do it. And these poor other priests, they're not taught a lot of this stuff in seminary. I mean, you were talking to me about that, how you weren't taught about any kind of exorcisms or deliverance ministry in seminary.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how, so sometimes people will comment like on different videos and will be like, okay, well, you went to seminary, that's why you know so much. Pretty much 95% of any video I've ever made is knowledge I gained afterwards. You know, I mean, so
Yeah.
so, and I know that there's people
Wow.
like, no, 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 like seriously, like 95% of like what I talk about in my videos, it's either stuff that I read on my own. It was not required to be read in class. or I've read after the fact. So it was like it was never connected to the official curriculum. That's why sometimes there's priests that like watch my channel. Why would they watch it if they already know it? It's because they don't know it.
Yeah.
You know, they were never that you never read it, it never or something like that. For me, I think it's the most interesting stuff, like what happens in purgatory and then the mystical life. Um, I think that's like some of the most fun things to learn about in our faith. It's kind of like the jewels of our faith.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the reason that most of the priests that I've worked with did a lot of their studies on their own or through books on, Father Rippinger and Deliverance, and reading on their own different mystics. And I think it's not that, there's a lot to know. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface, but it's that thriving on to keep on learning, to keep on knowing, because our
Yeah.
faith is so rich that I think that this is a perfect place for you. And I'm just gonna say it. I think it's probably the next channel is gonna probably be more you, more. Um, it's going to be bigger, and because you're going to be freer to talk about the stuff that's on your heart. Because I mean, I was watching you at the conference at Rosa Mystica, and you were on fire. I mean, it was like you had really rehearsed it, and I knew that was the Holy Spirit talking through you, because you touched a lot of people's hearts. And I think that's what you're going to be able to do on Uniquely Mystics is to talk about the mystical. Because I mean, people need to hear it. They need to hear the truth. I mean, if the Blessed Mother is coming and speaking to us, why would we not want to know what she said? And to contemplate the coming times and how the church has handled these situations, and properly. For me, I'm refreshed because when you said that you were going to do this, I immediately thought about how many channels are out there that are fear mongering. The end of the world is going to come tomorrow. Find out later at
Yeah.
7. And you're like, like how, the people are doing things for clicks, right? So we need to be able to support you, to steer the people right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think something that happens is like when it gets to that specific area, to me it seems like three things happen. One is the person presents it overly academic, and
Yeah.
so no one clicks on it, or it's like a boring class, even though the topic is important, or it's like AI generated. Those Catholic
Oh
channels
yeah.
drive me nuts. Where like
No,
you
I
click
know.
on it, and then you find out that they have like three other channels in other languages. So it's you don't even know who is making this. It's like you
Nope.
don't see a face, and you think, oh well, that's great, but it's AI generated. Half the story that they're making up is just it's just like a weird dialogue. So you don't even know if it's real. And then the other, which is also maybe more understandable, is sometimes when people get into that, like they want to get people's attention because they want their channel to grow, so they have to talk about the fear stuff. And how do you do that? You talk about exorcisms, you talk about the
Yeah.
Antichrist, you talk about the end of the world. So if y'all ever see a video about that topic, it's because that person wants to get views.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so that makes sense for them, but it also so they have to fear monger, just like the news. But I think like
Yes.
because like with Uniquely Mary, like I made like 900 videos, so I learned so much that I figured out like how I can take like an otherwise boring topic, but see like okay, this is incredibly important. How can I package it really well so that like I'll hook people to watch it and then they'll keep watching it and it's actually good for you. It's like it's good clickbait. So they make a distinction between clickbait and click worthy.
Oh yeah.
Like so for instance, like the recent video was about this way of discerning that she teaches Venerable Mary of Agreda, and I thought like people, I need to like clickbait this to make people watch it because they need to know this. This is
Yes.
important.
Yes. I think it's really important for us to understand that that's what we're doing. That's what we're up against. We're actually up against robots and AI. We're up against a lot of people trying to assimilate a certain fear, and that never keeps anybody in the faith. Fear is good for sensationalism in and panic, and that's not how Jesus wants. I mean, sort of like when 9/11 happened, the churches were packed for 2 weeks until the fear died down and everybody left the churches. I think people need to fall in love. And so I think what you're doing, I think what we're all trying to do is to try to be on that romantic side of sharing our faith because we love God and we love the church and we want to show this is why I fell in love. I mean, let me talk about my wife, Joy. I can tell you all these great things of why she is the most wonderful person in my whole life, and I would talk to her all day. So, this is another avenue where we're talking about what we love, and that's the church. That's what's going to keep people coming back, not the fear. And I think fear is like nitrite. You're gonna burn your engine out. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna go fast, but you're gonna burn your engine out. And people think that that's what Catholicism is, and it's a shame. So we're really in this fight, and this is one of the reasons why I was so passionate to have you on. And I know you got to go. I got you for about 2 minutes, and you got to go be a
Yeah.
dad. But what I'm trying to say is I'm so passionate about what you do, and I'm so glad that at least one of us is making it because you got like so many people following you. I'm so proud that of all the good work and all the Catholic teachings that you're doing, and I want to make sure that we support you and that everyone here who's watching signs up to Uniquely Mystic tonight. It doesn't cost you anything, and make sure that you tell Alvaro that you're there because you watch this program, and do whatever you can to support him and what he's doing because we need the support. In this world, there's only a few handful of us, and we all know each other, like Christine Bacon and Kendra, and Joanne and Christine Watkins. We all know each other, so we all have to support. So you're not backbiting anybody by, supporting Alvaro and supporting us at the same time. It's not like that. We all have to jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, amen. Well, thank you, Patrick. It's awesome to be here, and I think that it'll also be like a great channel to like send people your way and kind of like build this little community of sharing just all of your experiences and all your knowledge, because people need to know that too. I mean, that's like there's so much more that we need to learn.
Yeah, we love journeying together, and again, Rosa Mystica with Alvaro and Joyful Hope. That will be July 30th, and then August 1 and 2. So
Hmm.
you guys can reserve your reservations at Rosa Mystica today, and give them a call. Just a shout out to Sister Claire. Mary Claire is out there watching us from MOME.
31st?
Yeah, 31st. So August was July 31st to August 2nd. Those are the dates. And you can see us both there. We're going to bring our family. It's going to be totally awesome. Thanks, Alvaro, for being with us. Maybe you could close us out in a prayer.
Sure.
Okay.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Blessed Mother, please, through your powerful prayer and the graces that you can distribute through your hands, please pour out graces onto Patrick and I's channel and all of our families, that everything that we do may be more fruitful, that we may understand the science behind how to draw people in, and then that from what we know, it can be filled with God's grace so that it can transform hearts, teach people, help people be protected, help people grow in their faith life. Please make our work more fruitful and abundant, and giving so many blessings in the lives of other people. And please bless each and every single person that is listening right now and will in the future, them and their families. We ask all this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
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 In the
God
Father,
bless
the
you.
Son,
Thank you, Alvaro. We'll see
have a
you
beautiful
soon.
night, okay?
You too. God bless. We'll see you. August We stood 1,000 miles away. We laughed, we cried, stars fell from the sky. We prayed and sighed. Sleep well, sleep alive, knowing this is true. Sleep well, my love, knowing I love you. Knowing I love you, I do. 3 years have passed, mountains overcome, through tests and trial. In the end we've won. So hold me now, cry out in the dark. We'll find a way. Sleep well, my love, knowing this is true. Sleep well, my love, knowing I love you. Knowing I love you, I do. Oh, da 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 da, babe. Knowing I love you, I do. No matter what the world may bring, knowing I love. No matter what the world will sing, knowing I love. No matter what the world will bring, knowing I love. No matter what the world will sing, knowing I love. I love you, I love you, knowing I love. I love you, I love you.